kick off. We have David in here with us too,
All right.
who's my business associate like we did before. And look at you. You are ready. I dig it. Look at you. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay,
Well,
cool.
today is it's I'm in a one of the crew of Chewbacca's,
Oh, all
and
right, all right.
I'm part of Crew de Foo, which is a bunch of their original group was a bunch of kung fu practitioners. And so one of my friends invited me to walk with them for Mardi Gras one year, and we bonded. And so, I don't study the martial art of Kung Fu, but as a ranger for Burning Man, what we do, we call Ranger Fu because it's not about physical contact. It's all about de-escalation and letting people self-determine,
This is
by,
all foreign to me. No, no, this is all foreign to me, and I love this. I want to talk about this. And I
cool.
declare when you know nothing, because to know everything, you first must know that you know nothing. And this is awesome. I love this. And
Absolutely.
David, it's good to see you on camera. I want to go ahead and change my background because believe it or not, Ozone, you're going to be the first episode of the Yonia Health podcast.
Okay. Let me
So
move
it is
this.
still Empower, and Empower still has rights to drop this stuff, which is cool. Uh, but literally I want to be able to drop it for the start because I want to still follow on somewhat of a structure for a 501c3, and I think this can be one of the ways to do that. But I have to also change my background too. Give me one track. I'm going to mute David. Go ahead and take over if you want to do a welcoming up here too, and just take the stage. Anybody, it's all free. Nothing wrong here.
I can't hear you.
I'm muted. I'm trying to change my background so it is the actual other picture. I'm trying to
I
figure
was
out
going
where
to
it's
tell you, I
at.
listened to the episode with Steven, and
Yeah,
I don't know if you're normalizing your tracks once you do your edits, but if you normalize the two tracks separately, it'll make
yeah.
the vocals a lot better for because you came through real clear, but then Steven sounded like he was back here and you couldn't really hear everything. Now he
No,
doesn't
no,
have
this is all good. I
but,
love it. My
but I'm a
mom was
sound
literally
engineer
spitting me
and I
feedback.
listen.
Like, yeah, I love it. Okay, sorry, keep going.
I can't hear you, David.
David, you need to unmute. We want to hear you.
We see your beautiful face.
We see your beautiful face. I love it. Let's see here. There, I almost have it. All right, cool. We got the roots. Cool. Yes. Heck yeah. Awesome.
Still nothing.
Okay. Coming off. Did it do it now? There we go.
No,
Cool.
it says he's connected by audio, but I'm still not hearing anything. So I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a
Hold on one
maybe
second.
in one of the
Yes.
settings or something he may need to close Zoom and re-back open it.
Yeah, you might, David. Yeah, I can see you, and it is saying I'm muted too. Ozone's right. Yeah, you might have to just drop out and come back in.
Or sometimes we've had people that have to like connect by phone for the audio and then still be on the video.
Yeah,
Like, because I do a lot of
that's true
Zoom
too.
meetings and classes with Tulane.
Yeah, no, please. Yeah, sharing's how we win. So David, you might just have to go off video. Try that, and then try your mic. See what happens. Okay. And I made it so I was host this time because we got dropped out. At least I got dropped out, and I don't want that. I might have to then now what you're saying, and I could probably just re-upload all the audio for all of them, and I probably just pop it into Audacity. I've done a little bit of editing on my end, a little bit. And I think then you
Yeah.
would just I would drag and drop it, and then literally Control A, select it, and then probably just normalize it. See if it makes a difference. I mean, I
Yeah, like
usually
if,
I
if
used
you
to.
if you're recording the track separately, like if I'm on track one and you're on track two, whatever, and you have them as separate audio files, then you can definitely do that. You just normalize them and then combine them and merge them. And that ought to give you at least a better congruency, at least. So, you know, you're not having to worry about levels on the fly.
Okay, let me make sure here.
Other
Good.
than that, you'd need an audio engineer sitting there doing the mixing everything
Yeah.
on and listening to it
Hey,
live.
you know, Shaq pays his he pays somebody. I think he pays his mom to do shipping. And he's like, I think it's like
Okay, who are you
500,000 a year. And
now?
he's like, yeah, mom, you're gonna do my shipping. So it's like,
Hello, hello.
oh, cool, we
Okay.
got him. David's here. Awesome.
And you,
Can
for
you
some
hear me?
reason, I'm hearing an echo on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out 1 second.
Well, I'm, I am here. I just bought myself a new headset. So I was trying to work it and still haven't perfected it yet because I just got it. So
That's better, a little bit better for me. How about you, Ozone?
As far as what?
For David's sound quality here. I know it's
Oh,
not crispy dispy.
go ahead and speak a little bit, David.
Yeah, try it out. I think you're muted, David. Or you're having the tech issue. No, it's not showing your all right, maybe he has to set it up. That's not David.
David no mas.
You might as well turn it into a song. Why not? And I'll sing along. David, no more.
No mas.
No more David. No vocals or tones from David. We see you. Your maroon hat. I tell people Ramoon. And they'll
I'll go
go,
give some money.
Ramoon. And I'll be
No
like, yeah,
mas.
Ramoon, it's that reddish color. And they'll go, Ramoon? No, it's maroon. And then it's just this whole other fun conversation. Because then it's this whole like they have to correct that it's wrong. And it's like,
Well, you
oh,
know, in New Orleans, there's a street that everyone knows is called Burgundy. But if a tourist comes here, they say, "Where's Burgundy Street?"
Burgundy. Okay.
And see, that's one of the things is the pronunciation. That's what makes part of the crime problem here is that generational
I
knowledge
guess I
Yeah,
of
gotta
these
right,
things.
right, right.
It makes tourists like in other words, I used to say if you're smiling, you're probably not from New Orleans, and so that's a target. And then if you say words like Calliope or Burgundy instead of or Burgundy instead of Burgundy and Calliope in those areas, you're probably going to get taken advantage of because people are going to know you're not from there, and they're going to be like, "Oh, you know,
Yeah, yeah. It's a tell. Yeah, a generational tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely it's
Deep.
multi-generational,
Yeah.
and it
Wow.
goes back to like growing up as a kid and people saying, "Oh, I bet you I can tell you where you got your shoes at," and everybody's like, "Oh, you can't tell me that," and they're like, "You got your shoes on Bourbon Street, right on your feet," and then they take them for their $5, $10, $20, or they give them a hassle. So it's one of those old school hustles that even today at 48, I'm still hearing the same shit in the French
Mhm.
Quarter. It's
Yeah.
like
All right, David, can you say some stuff so we can hear you?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear. Oh, that is like crisp. That is like it, Ozone. I don't know how much closer we could get. So,
Can't really do anything.
no,
I'm just
you sound a
filming.
heck of a lot better right now. Where
You know,
is my?
like Brad said
I'm gonna
before,
swap over real quick.
beggars can't be picky. So it will have to do.
Awesome. All right. Let me go ahead and do a sound check real quick. Yeah, you're right. There is a little bit of feedback now that I'm hearing it. Hold on. All right. Let me move all the crinkle stuff out of the way here.
yeah, no problem.
Mags. All right. I think I'm set. So I was gonna go over because we're literally going into this and we get to create an ozone because the
Okay.
structure is somewhat based upon Empower, But the best part is, I think the first people in the first couple episodes, the way that it feels and the way that it flows, because I don't really want to. I want this to start as kind of a more of a blank canvas. So, but I did drop the pilot for this, and I can read it to you first, so then you can kind of, if you want to kind of like a feel for it going in with it, and then also put on whatever touch. You know, I'm not here to ever take away, and especially a generational touch uh, of Burgundy versus Burgundy. So,
Right.
for
Well,
some,
I don't know if that one's necessary, but I got plenty of them. So.
you're good. All right. Okay, so this is what I have so far for Yonya, the Yonya Health podcast. First of all, before I go any forward, I found out there's actually a Yonya Global Health podcast last night, and I was like, okay, this is. So I was like, so I looked at the AI picture. This picture behind me is. I was like, cool. So it's going to be at the roots. I said something about roots. So I'll probably say something either father the roots or be the roots or something. I was going over it with David, and he came up with an idea. But this is what I have down for our overall mission statement. It says originally launched back in June of 2023. We now aim to be a 501c3 that will continue to provide multiple helping hands for those recreating. At Yonya, our mission is to continue to bridge critical gaps for community populations at high risk of not having access to life's basic needs. These populations can include homeless, those in between employment with or not within healthcare, even individuals with past help. Our continuing primary goal is to abide by state and local ordinances, provide community friendly technology support, and continue to serve as a guide to those seeking to move forward. That's what I have.
Wow.
Okay.
But
So
the one part is lest we forget primary. What we're going into too, we want to try our best to abide by state and local ordinances, because you know what? I don't know it all, and I'll declare it at the start. But I think going into areas like this, having that as a primary goal, if you make it, sometimes you make goals on a day, sometimes you don't. But you try your best. That's the goal. You know.
there's a lot that goes into being homeless, right? It's not just one
Oh,
thing you're
absolutely.
homeless. Now, it can be that way. There's a series of things that do happen. And recognize that.
Can we also speak? Because here's the thing: this the distinction to make. The structure of from what I'm seeing for Ionia, it's similar to Empowera, but the distinction comes in on the as it is with Empower, making sure anybody that's individual experience to share, and then what do you feel is really happening in the community in the world, and whatever it is. And the beauty with Ionia is as long as it's so uh, power of freedom, power of self-expression, and what's the other one? Hold on, power of freedom. Yeah, power, freedom, and self-expression. All of those, if those are based upon conversation too in life and be and the philosophy of it, that's all on board too. There's no limitations here with Yonia. I mean, like I think philosophy of life and living is still a basic need. Being able to create community and talk with people, and that's not something your government can really. They can, but they can't. They can supply funds to be able to make A and B happen, but then the actual act of it is the individual showing up, right, being on the court. But that's the other one too, is a willingness to want to have those if they want those avenues. But yeah, self and then community world, and then we still do a community thank you at the beginning too. I still like that part of Empower, so I thought it'd be nice to train. So, and then if we want to close with quote, we can close with a quote as well.
Okay.
Great.
What do you think?
Uh,
Thoughts? That's all new. This is literally all up in the air too. We're in the avant-garde right now, Ozone. Hold on, buckle up.
well, I like what you're saying because I'm in my disaster leadership resilience masters as well at Tulane, and one of the classes I'm taking is about it has to do with the disaster leadership as far as I'm sorry, I'm having a blank at the moment. It's human and social factors. It's one of the base classes, and one of the things I was watching last night was on a TED Ed. Was one of the things, and it's about universal uh, human rights as defined by the UN. I don't know if you're aware, but and I can share the TED link at the end of this or whatever. But basically it's to
Hold on,
reaffirm.
hold on. I'm not even gonna count down. We're gonna go right into this. I'm gonna push record here. So you're good. You're hot and you're on fire. I love this. We're gonna go straight into your TED link and we'll do it. All right. Have at it. You have the floor, Ozone.
Okay. So right now, there's what I'm talking about is a TED ad I watched, and it's on reaffirming faith in humanitarians, in human rights. And so up until I want to say 2015, I'm not sure about the actual date, there was no universal human rights for the UN. There were several different understandings or whatever, but nothing that was universally accepted. And so they have this thing. It's basically they want it by 2030 is the goal, is to have all these 17 points in the world, which one of them is to get rid of poverty and homelessness and all the things that we talk about. And I wasn't aware that there was actually a United Nations. I wasn't aware that there was actually a United Nations initiative on this, and so that kind of opened my eyes. And I thought, that's something that people might want to be interested in, because we're basing all these ideas on what we feel or what we know between the city or the community or the our area of exposure. But what
Absolutely.
happens is when you're a traveler like myself for many, many, many years,
Me
uh,
too. Yeah. Travel
you
nurse. I get
you end up seeing and being exposed to so many different communities that it causes cognitive dissonance. First of all, we have all the lenses or the labels or the things that we've indoctrinated into ourselves up until this point in our lives, and that's how we understand things from our subjective perspectives. That's why everyone's truth is truth, meaning you and I can have an interaction and have completely different stories about how that interaction went based on our cognition of what was happening at that time. And so when you start interacting with people and there's all these, I call it the cloud of confusion and the veil of ignorance. Those two things have been placed on us as human beings, because until we're ready to tap into those things, which we all have the availability to do so, it's not gonna happen, and it takes a lot of work. And most people will get past one or the other, and then they'll get content with their lives, and they'll stop there, and they cease to go forward with self or community. And right now we're at a disparity for all of these things, because we have so many misunderstandings about what life is supposed to be and how we interact with each other, and just mutual respect for people in and of itself. We can't even get along in our own cities, states, and country, much let alone in the world with everyone else. And so, yeah, there's huge disparities in many, many things. And I think if people started coming together and treating each other more like community rather than somebody that they just want to interact with for their own selfish personal reason, instead get to know people like it used to be, when we counted on each other. Like they say, it takes a village. And that's why I'm so diverse, is because I learned from everywhere. I didn't learn from any one person, place, or thing. And so I'm very grateful for, the hard life that I've lived, because that hard life has given me all these experiences, which enable me to now empower other people without them having to go all the way down those roads, because most of those roads people would get stuck in and they would never come back. I can't, I think you're on mute. Sorry.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'll get that. I'll get that out. But or if I don't, whatever happened. But I wanted to give an introduction to Ozone. It makes a true difference. And I wanted to let everybody know this is episode 1 of the Yonia Health Podcast. We're thankful to have Ozone coming to us from New Orleans.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you as well. If you haven't also, we'll have an upcoming episode as well. It will drop on the Empower podcast as well, Ozone. Thank you again with that. It was a courtesy with 2 other guests as well, Denise and Stephen Lafferty. So can you give everybody a background, I guess, on your journey in the world? We're not asking you for, the life of Ozone in one, if you'd like, if you can, if you haven't. But if not,
nothing wrong here, but what it is you offer from where it is you fit into our puzzle of life, because we all have our fittings into the puzzle of life. Some people may say we don't fit throughout the puzzle or the tapestry. Some have said even throughout the years too. But it's amazing we are, believe it or not, if we were to be a thread, I think we all still similarly are a biological thread that has been sewn together still. So that's just the way I kind of look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We're
and we all
all connected in the biome.
Mhm.
You know, whether we realize it or not, we're connected to all things that are bioorganisms in this world. So it's interesting how we identify things and choose to incorporate and integrate those things into our understandings for our lives. And I think that's where a lot of dissonance also comes in, is those generational knowledges that, you know, there's things that are both born into us inherently through our DNA because of the family struggles, the things that have happened in our pasts, that come through the biological part in our DNA. And then there's the learned part that we're exposed to once we're here in this existence, in these, you know, in these biological forms. And so sometimes those things are dissonant because people say curses, blessings, you know, that's subjective depending on how you're looking at it and from what perspective you see it from. You know, people can change those realities by simply tapping into what they know and what they are, and then going against maybe what they've done most of their lives by being more, you know, open to change, rather than being so fundamentalist on any end of the spectrum that they basically cannot get into balance vibrationally with themselves. And so once you could get in vibration with yourself, you could get in vibration with community. And that's where they say things like, well, like-mindedness and people of a feather flock together and any of those things, because we are attracted to what we know and what we are.
Very true.
Wow. David, yeah, go ahead. I want you to drop in here for those who don't know. David is also business associate, also collaborating with me and putting together here the Yonya Health Podcast. We're all glad to be able to do it not alone, but together. So I don't know, David, do you want to go ahead and jump off and here and tell us a little bit more about you and what it is that you've brought to the overall podcast and your journey? Because I've had you on Empower before, and this is a different distinction for those who don't know. Again, this is Yonya, not Empower. For those who are like, wait a minute, but didn't Brett? Yeah, no, let's move forward from here. This is this is another podcast. It's fine. But yeah, David, kick us off.
Well, Ozone, the Bible is a collection of stories. So if we remove the Jew or Jewish lens off the Bible really is a recording of man's life through whatever adventures she has gone through. Correct? And we tribalize according to how we believe. So when you say we believe our own truths and our perception is our reality, which it is, and everyone's perception is not wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. And everyone's perception of reality is based upon what they see, hear, do, take in. These can be verbal or nonverbal. This can be music. This can be video. This can be everything, anything under the sun. But we fail to realize that our history is a marker of what man in general or woman has gone through. And the Quran and the Torah and all the Eastern religions, they have recorded their history and their truth.
Ozone, can you mute?
I'm trying. This thing started going crazy. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
Nothing wrong here, and I want a 2 to 3 minute response if you can to what David to say.
I can't. I'm having a hard. Give me a second.
Hard time.
Okay.
My phone is up to my face and ear, so I don't know if that is. It might be just be this phone. I really think it is. I think in due time I will have a new phone. But really, our books of knowledge are recorded. Um, Yet we fail to realize that all cultures, all religions, all people, all human beings have recorded in some form in their time what it is. If we look at the Egyptian hieroglyphics, right, that are engraved on their pyramids, that is their communication. Whatever appears to them and the old Egyptian culture, maybe read that language, we can't today. Well, why?
Right.
Right? And
No,
again,
absolutely.
each culture has their own language. You speak English. Someone may speak Japanese. Someone may speak um, Korean or Hangul, or someone might be speaking or Mandarin and Cantonese. Other people may speak Spanish, or you might be speaking Swahili, right? But we're all human. We're all human. The one thing that we all have in common is we're born, we live this life, develop over time, from infants into children, into teenagers, into adults. And however long that lifespan is for people, because it varies, the average American male lives till he's 83. And the average American woman lives until she's 92. Um, our
Hold on,
society.
David. David, you're throwing a lot at us. I get it.
Oh yeah.
Ozone, I wanted to see if you can. I want to give you, if you can, 2-3 minutes off of that. He's throwing out a lot. I want to hear what it is you have in response to that. We've gone from the Bible, the distinctions of man and woman, ancient civilizations and generational knowledge. I think that's a lot to bite off of, and at least talk about. I think I definitely want to hear what it is Ozone has to say in regards to this.
Okay. I never did answer about who I am and where I'm, all of that stuff. I kind of skipped all of that. If you want me to actually say anything, I can, but,
Absolutely revisit. Yes.
so I'm Ozone Konen, and I've done and been many places and had many different lives, if you will. So I wear many hats. Currently, I am a master's of social work and disaster leadership resilience at Tulane University in New Orleans. And my goal is to become a psychotherapist and help with the programs that need to be developed for healthcare, mental health change, helping people transition from the state that we're in to the state we're going to, because there is going to be a huge uh, paradigm shift in many directions, and it's going to be a lot of things to a lot of people. Subjectively, I can't really describe what that is because we're talking to everyone right now, and so but I mean, I am a musician. I have a bachelor's in music from University of New Orleans. I've lived in many different cities around the United States: Eugene, Oregon; Asheville, North Carolina; St. Petersburg, Florida; Dallas, Texas; Houston, Texas. So, I've gotten a lot of different cultural input over this time. I am a participant and ranger at Burning Man, which is a gathering every year that's, for me, more of a, like, I guess, a social experiment that's been going on how things could be different if we were to do things a different way. And so Black Rock City is 70,000 people that exists in the northern Nevada desert once a year. And when it exists, it's the third largest city in Nevada, but it only exists for Burning Man. And one of the principles that we go by is leave no trace. So at the end of it, once everything is done and everyone leaves, they comb through the sand and they basically leave it like it was before we got there and built everything. And this is an amazing process that happens every year. So that city is, you know, there's no money inside once you buy your ticket, except for ice, because you have to buy ice. I mean, that's one of those things, unless you've got, you know, your own means of bringing in ice, and or like, you know, people that camp in a tent, obviously ice isn't going to last even in the best coolers. So gifting is one of the principles, and it's all about, you know, it's about empowering people and teaching them and showing them what can be done through community action rather than words, because, you know, words are cheap in today's day and age, but actions speak volumes, because everyone wants to talk about it, but nobody wants to do anything about it, or they think everyone else should do something about it except me. But diversity and inclusion says that both of those things have to happen synergetically, you know, otherwise there's no homeostasis within self. So, you know, but I there's, I don't
I
know.
want to hold on. No, I want to pop in there if I can. That was a lot to offer, but homeostasis in general, it's amazing to see that even as we speak right now, the micro parts of our body are striving for that. That's their overall goal in existence, each cell. And yet we all as a community, it's the microcosm and the macrocosm all at work in that way. And it doesn't matter where. And you're right. Wow. You spoke of Burning Man. Thankfully, when I went to the psychedelic science conference, the actual leader of Burning Man, I have to remember her name off the top of my head. I do remember. I don't remember her name. I remember her impression the most, and I remember what she was wearing too. Awesome, psychedelically colorful dress, and it was their first actual declaration with maps. And I've spoken with you prior about maps, so we can speak in like. But it was their declaration of at least taking on harm reduction and the self-expression and which is in the living situation too, you know, and city. So, and sense of being, I would say it too. If I had to really summarize that all, it's a sense of Burning Man. I feel like it's a sense of being, and people can all turn on to that. It's if it was a button.
You mentioned, sorry, I got it caught in my.
No, go right in.
You mentioned self-expression, and it's interesting because, you know, going from New Orleans to Oregon, first of all, was a huge culture shock in my understandings and the way that I looked at things. And then going there, it was like, you know, with decommodification is one of the principles. So, you know, you get away from all the, you know, the shopping mall clothing or those types of things. And it really makes people start to get into their creative side. And so one of the principles is radical self-expression. And radical self-expression arises from the unique gifts of the individual that no one other than the individual or a collaborating group can determine its content. It is offered as a gift to others and its spirit. The giver should respect the rights and liberties of the recipient. So basically, people should be able to dress and be however they want to be without fear of being judged because they want to be different. It's like, why do you wear that? Well, because I can. Why don't you? You know, it's like, if you're going to ask that question, then ask a question back to people, because it's weird. You know, in some places I can walk down the street and I'm accepted and even revered in certain communities. But then I walk down the street in other communities, even in my own, and people have really shown the true side of where we are in our evolution, to me. And it's enlightening, but it's also kind of a scary and sad situation where we are. And so my goal is to help. That's why I do social work. As a ranger for Burning Man, I gift my time and volunteer, because the whole thing runs on volunteerism, is where I was going about the whole money thing. And I got off the subject, but you know, there's 70,000 tickets, but I think only 10,000 get sold at general sale, because the other 60,000 have to go to all the people that are involved. You're still buying your ticket, but if I don't have 100 people to bring my camp, and it takes that to build it, then I can't do my camp.
You're right.
So,
it shows the interdependency too. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
So it's like, you know, I'm almost guaranteed a ticket, because I'm both part of theme camps and I'm part of the emergency services, if you will. And so,
CEO is Marianne Goodell. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Her name is Marianne Goodell. I wanted to give credit where credit's due. That's who I saw at the
okay,
psychedelic. Marianne Goodell.
yeah. Um, but yeah,
Self-expression. I've seen. Hold on. So I've seen some of the art out at Burning Man, just in general, because that's one part of the culture, and things that are going on too. There's multiple things happening at one time, and each day.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing to look at one of the art cars, mutant vehicles, or camps and realize how much it took or what it took to even put that together. But then to
Yeah.
look around and realize there's 1,000 of them going on at the same time, and you're like, how in the world did we put? Well, we did it because the right people came together and showed what they can do through community involvement, and
Right.
that's the beauty of Burning Man.
You can literally. I think the one that shocked me the most was the stacked semis, and if people haven't seen it, it's a literal S shaped. I'm gonna try to look it up here on my phone, and just to see what that looked like, I was just so blown away. I was like, and that was like, I think it was
They had one that was something like that. That was like some kind of like I don't know if it was a monster or a dinosaur or whatever, but it actually stood up and did all kind of craziness with the
it
fire and
moved,
stuff.
like,
Yeah,
functional and stuff.
it
What?
moved. That was
Wow.
probably the evolution after that because I was there the year they had that S thing. I don't remember what
Hold
year
on.
that was.
Oh, let me go. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. And I do not own this art whatsoever. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know what that's doing. There we go. Tech support with Brett. This is so fun. All right, cool. And sharing my screen. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Look at that. I was so blown away. Is it working? Is it showing it?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you were there for this one.
Yes.
Wow. And everybody
Yeah.
can see the amount of the overall environment too, as to what Burning Man looks like and where they're at. You said it was Black Rock City, right?
Right.
Okay, cool. I was gonna see if I
It's in the Black Rock Valley, which is a dried lake bed. So it's actually like an alkaloid sand that
yeah.
is like powdered sugar. So, we make the virgin burners lay on the ground and get because you're going to get covered in it anyway. So people come out there and they're not used to being dirty or whatever. It's like, well, you're not dirty, but you're going to be dusty. And so they call the playa dust the great equalizer because it covers everything with a fine khaki color. And
Yeah.
basically it makes $5,000 boots and $50 boots look the same pretty much. So
Just have boots. Look at this
just have,
person's
well,
got
whatever you want to have. I
What
mean, there's
do I heard?
definitely,
No. This year I heard that they got rained in. Like the rain was just insane. Like they were flooded. It was flooded.
well, they did, but I had a friend of mine that was out there and they
Up.
said they played in the mud. It was great. So, no, I guess it would be like playing in diatomaceous earth. If you've ever played with that stuff, it gets kind of pasty and
Mhm.
but I mean, once it dries, it just come right off anyway. So not
I
a
get
big
it.
deal. It's probably good for your skin at one point, but if you don't want to get like on your feet, you don't want to go out there barefoot because it'll get in the bottom of the feet. So you need to use a white vinegar to get that out of your skin. So you don't
So
want to have.
I kind of know the answer to this, and I want to know if you wanted to kick it off and speak for it. But not everyone there at Burning Man identifies as a man or a woman, and I think that's something to generally talk about and to bring into discussion. I know David has discussed what he did prior, but I think there it seems that it is still a sense of community, it's a sense of being, and it doesn't seem as a distinction there, or even a basic kind of I guess initial conversation, right? It's just a sense of comfort, acceptance, it seems, and community.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I would say, and I don't know, I hate the non-binary term, but I say trinary because it's beyond non-binary. Um, people refer to each other as burners that participate in Burning Man. Everyone that participates is a burner.
Yeah,
There's no
I've heard the term.
distinction.
Right. Yeah, it's its own
Um,
Gaga group name or whatever. Yeah. It's a team,
Right.
right?
So we just refer to each other as burners, and with with it being an international community, it's it's a little bit further along with acceptances of lots of things. I mean, everything at Burning Man is acceptable as long as you're not harming yourself or someone else. And harming yourself even goes to the point of, am I altered beyond the point of being able to make good decisions or rash decisions? They don't have to be good. They could be bad decisions if that's what you choose to do. But are you doing it because you know you're doing it? If not, then that's where the Rangers would step in, and they don't make anyone do anything, but they try to go educate or find out what's going on. And sometimes just by the presence of us, because we're not the police, we're the good guys. We're like the if we're like the ranger at the park where you're going to see, it's like, where do I go to do this? We're literally the face of the organization because everyone's in costume. And so there's no distinctions. There's no like, oh, well, the people in the polo shirts, there's no polo shirts. I mean, I've never seen a polo shirt. I might have seen some people playing polo in the sand on bikes, but I don't think they were wearing shirts.
Yeah,
So
no, yeah, no, no. I'm glad you brought that up. Not everybody's wearing a polo. Like everyone has your own fingerprint. I call that whenever I don't know what else to say. It's your own fingerprint experience there. Like,
right.
and you really see and be that. I mean, last I checked, unless we do blood samples, we are all human. Last I checked, but I'm not here to get clear and complete beyond if we're not. But if we are, cool. I'll start there. And beyond that, it seems as if it's just birder or just human.
Well, everybody has a burner name, so they don't go by their default world name. Ozone is actually my Ranger handle. It started off as my burner name, but then it became my official handle for rangering. And so now my playa name is Game Changer because sometimes I don't want to identify myself as a ranger or confuse people. But everyone still knows
what a ranger is. I'm not familiar. So
a ranger is basically I guess, like I said, the face of the organization where we're walking around, we're watching for the safety of the participants. We're there to answer questions that people might have. You need directions to the porta potty. I give a lot of directions to the porta potty.
So you could be what individuals may even for thousands of years would term a guide, regardless of what it looked like.
Yes, we are guides. We
Yeah.
basically we're basically there to help people figure out how to help themselves. Most of the time, just by walking into or being around somebody where they see a visualization will change an argument into okay, well, let's just forget about it. I don't know. I guess I'm not probably using the best terms for it, but it's someone that's there to help. I've done different jobs and within that.
You're also there for harm reduction purposes as well.
Well, I'm a green dot ranger, so that's what I do is if people are altered, and a lot of times people come out and they're thinking I'm partying, I don't need my regular medications. It could be anything. And things get off, and then they're in a strange place. Maybe they lose their camp and they don't know where they are. So they know to come to the Rangers and it's a safe place. If they get too inebriated, they know to come to the Rangers that you're not in trouble. I need some help.
Conversation with anybody who's already before they even touch down in Black Rock. There's probably a load of emails and information as to what it is for a ranger, their duties, that kind of a thing. If for people need to look for a ranger, is what you're saying. Like no one blind goes up there and goes, "Oh, I have to find this thing called a ranger." Like they just want people.
No, there's a survival guide that gets mailed out to each participant. I mean, once you've been there, you know what a ranger is. But if you're not and you're new to it, and maybe someone didn't do their responsibility of explaining all these things, but when you get everyone is very friendly, very, very, it's all about sharing everything, information and understandings. And so, people are really quick to let people know how to get anything accomplished that they need to do. But the Rangers are there just to help with that. We're there to facilitate and guide people. Like you said, we're there to hold the door open and tell you where to go have the most fun. Like, well, where's that? Where's that?
You can tell them how many lovely ways to find the porta potty.
Right. Or tell them like, if they want to get on a mutant vehicle that, well, the best way to do that is to go out here and wait by the, and you just explain like things that we might think are common sense, but until they're common to us, they're not, you know?
Yeah. Now, I have a question. I don't know if you could speak to this too. Are the art pieces used as a navigational area? Like, you have to go back down about 3 trucks, then make a left at the UFO, and then you're going to find the port. Like, I don't know if that's what that looks like. So I guess I'm trying to draw a
Well,
picture for myself.
absolutely. Just like anywhere else, people can utilize different markers for doing that. All of the roads in Black Rock City are made on a radius. So there's everything goes by clock, like the end, the outer ply. When you look at it, it looks like a U. It's 10 and
Oh,
2.
that's the picture I was showing, I think. Let me pull it back up.
Mhm.
I think that's what I was showing. Yeah, let me look it back up here. Come on. All right, the U to the U. This.
Yes. So the left or if you look at it from the
Here,
bottom, it's
pick
6
one.
o'clock.
Here we go. We'll pick this one out. There we go. Okay.
So if you look the bottom of the U, let's say it would be 6 o'clock. So the outside is going to be your 10 o'clock
There's
and your
a stream or a peak of light coming out there too. I see it right here, bottom left-hand corner of the picture. I get you. Yeah. Okay. So that's 6 o'clock. Got it.
And then if you look in the center of that, what looks like almost a circle but not complete, that's where the effigy or the man goes every year. That's the effigy that's built for each year that they end up burning on the Saturday before the burn is over, or Labor Day
Okay.
weekend. But to answer what Black Rock Rangers are, they're basically veteran burners who help participants and staff work through problems and make everyone's burn awesome. Rangers only assist the community when needed, and our ideal outcome is to have people solve their own problems with a gentle nudge in the right direction and then fade back into the background when we're not needed. So, but we provide information to participants and staff. We help new people get the Burning Man culture. We maintain perimeters and do crowd control during the burn events. We provide staff members support in psychological distress and for participants, mediate conflicts between participants and camps, support emergency services, things of that nature. So we're on the radios we're communicating
Yeah.
and letting people know what's going on and what needs to happen. If someone gets hurt, then we call in right there and we say, hey, I need an ambulance at 10 o'clock and F. So everything goes from the Esplanade, then it goes back A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So everything's either like 6 o'clock and F or 10 o'clock and B.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's how things are referenced. And then they're like, we'll go to 6 and B and then look for the UFO 3 trucks down, you know? So that's kind of how everything is referenced. And once you get acclimated to the environment,
Everyone,
it's
the
pretty
Rangers
easy.
get each other and they get that, right? And then they get things that need done.
Yes.
Yep. Wash, rinse, repeat. Got
Absolutely.
it. And then also, when in doubt, fade out when you're not needed, right? That's it. I get
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I get this. Now, if I could speak to that for anybody else who's looking at it, I know you did mention you're getting your master's in social work.
Yes.
Is there other kind of requirements for those that are looking at maybe becoming a guide or they have looked at it? I understand there are so many tickets as well, but for those, I guess, maybe even curious or maybe are looking for a nudge at another individual they know that would really make a difference potentially being able to help out. Not even as a ranger, just in general,
Well,
But
I mean, if they want everything if there's always ways to volunteer, as far as at Burning Man or
yeah.
in
No,
a
that's
social
fine. It's more
realm.
of a volunteer basis you were saying before as
Yeah,
well,
everything
right?
is volunteer basis, and in order to participate, you just have to get involved. Everything is for everybody. There's no like exclusivity. There's no VIP stages and all of that. There are some like private camping areas only because of high profile clientele or but everything is supposed to be open to everybody. It's not about who you are in the default world. It's all about in the here and now,
Right.
because the only thing we're promised is the here and now.
And
So
that's the other, and other people going there are they're going with that mindset of not the here and now. It is that or their old here and now. We've talked before about lenses. I've been talking about the U lens and the we lens over the last few days too. It's been very helpful. But yes,
yeah,
you out of that and you hop into a we lens, I guess, is that the best way to say it, instead of the me lens, right?
Well,
And
yeah, absolutely.
distinct.
On the community side, now of course we talked about the U lenses versus the I lenses when we're talking about interpersonal growth on our own as individuals, because there's you have to get rid of the U lenses that people have placed on you that you're operating from to get empowered to the I, but then I becomes the me, which is the we. So it's
I get
it's
it.
kind of it's you have to go inwards and then outwards to get the whole picture. You can't just get yourself and then go forward and forget. That's the whole inclusion that I was talking about. People get understanding and they're like, oh, well, I'm good. I'm gonna do me now. Blah, 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 later. Like, but
Yeah,
that's not
it's a
how we get. That's like the blue crab syndrome in New Orleans. It's like as soon as somebody tries to get out and change anything, everybody pulls them back in. And so, the blue crab is the only animal you can fill up to the top and not put a lid on it, and not one is going to get out, because every time he tries to leave the basket, the rest of them pull his ass back in. And so that's how we look at things in our societies. It's like we don't try to empower people. We try to empower ourselves, and then, well, I'm better than you, and you're. It's the whole separatists, uh, uh, us as them's. It's the
yeah,
separatists.
yeah.
That's all. What it boils
Illusion
down
of
to.
life. One of the greatest illusions of life so far is that we are is the illusion of separation. That we are separate. That's one of our greatest illusions, I think. And each day
Yeah.
you get up, I forgot this morning. Now I'm glad we got to talk about it. But it's those who forget it about their day, and it still comes up. I think it comes up throughout every day, multiple times a day, in whatever way it looks, because that interconnectedness of knowing that, wow, and thank you for that. And those who don't understand, what is this I, we, me lens? Ozone has been on before. Also, again, another drawback. I want you to check out that episode if you haven't when it drops as well. But a lot more information as to what that is. I'm not here to tell you and spend too much time on it, but there's just the distinction of, I guess, for those who need it, as what I can summarize if you want to offer it too, the philosophy of self, then, and it's moving forward with that, then community, and then world. I see it, and then, or even universe, even beyond that, because, or multiverse, because the interdependency of all the stuff that. I mean, I'm jumping off real hard because we're talking about Burning Man, and now I'm thinking about how the Otter AI is gonna arrange the overall chapters for this. But we're going into the ETs. I was watching that there was I don't know if we want to speak about ETs a little bit or not, if that's all right with you. But because there's these salient light forms that have come, and we've documented that they have been in certain radii, and then they leave because we either shoot like a bolt of light at them in some way, or some laser or whatever it is, and they just go, nope, all right, never mind. And it's been going on for a long time. David, are you still there? I
Yeah,
wanted to
I'm
double
still
check. Oh, cool. All right. But yeah, no, and I wanted you to respond too. We have Burning Man going on. We had distinctions going on earlier too, of the self, I guess we could call them, if that's all right. And then we're moving forward with this too. So yeah, what did you get from that, David?
Burning Man is an awesome community. I love all things cars and engines. Okay, so the one thing that I think that men have now lacking is the ability to assemble with other men. There's nothing wrong with no women. Okay, women can assemble with other women. Men need a safe space to assemble with their own kind. And however that looks to men, we need that safe space because we can't always tell women what we really think, because then they lose the respect, right? They put us on a pedestal and we're idolized as this macho man type thing. But we do have emotions, and when we do have trauma, and we do have experiences, and we're put down for the way we operate because we just operate different than women do. And that's okay. And I think what happens in support systems is that men are looked at as the wallet. And it's fine. we should provide, and we're responsible. We create people, and it still takes two to tango, as far as I know. But men need to be acknowledged for the stuff they do provide. So if we erased man off this earth and all left was women, the infrastructure would fall apart within 6 months. We men, we clean out sewers, we fix water lines, we fix electrical lines, we build buildings, we put roofs on, we wire the house, we heat the house, we make sure the boilers work, we fix the stove, do the plumbing, we deal with the number two that we don't want to ever acknowledge. We do all kinds of dirty jobs, like Mike Rose said. Safety third. Why is safety third? Because if you put safety first, you'll always be fearful of something occurring, not according to plan. But guess what? Life isn't planned. Life just occurs. That's just okay. Now, should you plan for your life? Sure. Should you have a financial plan in place? Sure. Should you have goals for 3 to 5, maybe 10, 15, 20, 50 years? Okay, you could. But if you plan that much and you go down to that scope of detail, then you're not allowing yourself for freedom. And life occurs regardless of your plan. It just occurs. It occurs for everyone. And homelessness is the same thing. It just occurs. You will never get rid of it. You can minimize it. You will never get rid of it. Why? Because people choose to be homeless. Or something happens to your life that's homeless. That causes homelessness. That's okay too. You have to remove the stigma or the shame.
David, can you go a little closer to your mic?
I am as close as I can.
All right, good. Sounds good. Thanks.
Um, it's it's all that, and it's a multifaceted problem that people throw money at, but do they really combat the actual roots of the cause, not just the symptoms?
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the areas, and at least one of the conversations I think throughout society that people are starting to talk about more and more. And I think it has to do with the economy is one of them here in the United States is the cost of living is continuing to increase. And generationally, people are deciding, I think, that they want to not buy real estate and they don't want to. I just got your message, Ozone.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, no,
There.
nothing wrong. Um, so, and to see that it's becoming, I guess, more of a reoccurring theme. Like before, we had this distinction of there was homelessness. I remember back in 2011, I volunteered up at the Haven Arrest in Akron, Ohio, and I got to be in the tub room. And that was seeing me, it was my first vision of homelessness and being able to see that people were literally able to put whatever it was that they used for living into a tub that you literally could, a sterilite tub. And that was it for the night. And they literally slept on a mat. I had to help sweep the floor. I remember that. But it was eye opening just to see that that was the time then and what it looks like now. And if that was really occurring then too, and it's be a slower process via inflation and cost of living and everything else. So what do you got from that, David? Ozone, if you have to drop out too, nothing wrong here. That's just how these work. We'll just still post them in regards to it. But yeah. And thank you very much for coming on as a guest. Appreciate that. And for your input as well. And look forward to, again, having you back on as well. Oh, you're back? Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I'm back. I have another thing to go to for 11. I didn't realize what time it
You're
was.
fine. On here. No, over. We've definitely gone over. Certainly gone over, and we appreciate you staying on.
No, I'm enjoying this. I want to talk some more. I mean, there's so many things we didn't even get into. So
No, yeah, absolutely. We could even start
I'd
this
love
as
to
a
come back and do some more.
yeah. And here's the other part. If we just, I'm going to open it up to the listeners too. We're kind of putting together our structure. David, 1 second, please. We're putting together a structure for this, so this is all going to be a fingerprint experience. So if you have feedback as to what it is you liked here too, let us know. We'll pass it along to Ozone as well too if he hears anything from the discussions, because we want to be able to keep that up here. And remember the distinctions here when we're here at Yonya Health Podcast. We're looking at the other issues in life besides the health and wellness sector. That can still be tied into it. I know we're saying that because it's like, well, you're Yonya Health. No, I think it's the things that make up the overall healthcare system and those overall things that lead to its overall use as well. Because I still think there's other avenues that lead to its use that we could talk about. And one of them could be self-expression. Another one could be acceptance in society. Another one could be homelessness. And there's all these various issues. And I think if we go down to the topics of power, freedom, and a self-expression in whatever way those come out in whatever order, yeah, that would be the best, I think. But yeah, no, and if you need to, and that's the way that these work too. Well, I'd love to make these actually to the point where we could have. I think we can have up to 100 people, where as long as we all have a system where we can mute, and we were able to accept that, it literally created almost like a. I hate to say it, but I'd love to say it, and I don't own it, but a Zoom Burning Man. Believe it or not, we just minus the ice. We'll break the ice instead. How about that? No, all right, but what are you both getting from that? What do you think?
As far as what? Sorry.
Any and or all thinking, because I mean, this is literally I think our brainstorming episode, and I dig it, and it's also our first episode, which is even more of a reason to dig it, because I have yet to. We just broke a wall, Ozone. We broke a fourth. I think it's called the fourth wall, maybe, where we're literally breaking through to the listeners, and they're like, oh, they're actually connecting with us and brainstorming. Yes, we are. Welcome aboard.
No, I'm loving it. In fact, that's what I have another show called the New Orleans Brainstormers that I'm going to with Steven and Red and Sean.
I love it. Oh, go do it. Say the name again, and we can drop it in the notes. You can send all this over to, so we can keep this all in conversation for everybody else too when we drop. But what was the organization called, or the place you're going?
It's the New Orleans Brainstormers, and I'm not sure it's on. I'll have to get all the official information. Steven gave it to us in the last episode.
Sure. Awesome.
This is my first time going over with them.
No, and I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to come back and talk some more and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Yes,
it. David,
sir.
you want to close for Ozone?
To be or not to be, to have or to not have, and to do or to not do. The only thing that will stop you is your thinking and your actions. Have a great day.
Wow. I love it. All right. I think I'm good to close too, David. If you wanted to, we can. Do we all want to close with a quote? Is there anybody that has a quote?
Yeah.
I just did mine.
Sure. I love it.
Well, I got a couple of them. The first one is the smallest deed is greater than the grandest intention, and that's Patti LaBelle. And the second one is work is either fun or drudgery. It depends on your attitude. I like fun. And that's Colleen Barrett. That goes along with what David said. It's, whether you want to or you don't want to, you have to, so you might as well enjoy it, right?
Absolutely. I have one by Bernard Shaw. It is like a brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. And I'm glad I'm not doing that alone. This is beyond the quote. This is me now. But not alone, but together with David, Ozone, and everybody else who's listening. Thank you all. All right. Let's close this out. This is episode 1 of the Onya Health Podcast. Bye for now.
504 out.
Bye now for now.